Thank you all for tuning in to WJC LP 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. And also, where change matters. So welcome to my show. My name is Jeff Badu, and I'm your host tonight for the show Money Talks, where all we talk is money. Live on WJC LP 98.3 FM, on the dial in Chicago or anywhere in the world on our website, WGHCradio.org. Once again, that's WGHCradio.org. We're also streaming live today on Instagram and Facebook. And with that being said, today we'll be talking about just have a conversation, a real conversation about how to invest in yourself. I would say that the best investment that you can ever make on the planet is in yourself. Right, so basically we'll be unpacking that. I do want to give a quick shout out to Gene, the real estate guy. Him and I will be doing a clubhouse tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. We also have a few other hosts on it. We have Cam, we have MC Attraction. So join us tomorrow night on Clubhouse. The name of the club is A Life of Abundance, and we're having the conversation about abundance. Basically, we're talking about business ownership and how to avoid entitlement, basically, when it comes to the business. So right now it's about 7:12 p.m. Central, and we'll kick it off with the market report. We'll try to move quickly with this one. Sorry for starting later than expected, but we'll keep it moving like we always do in life. All right, so this report is as of April 16th, 2021. Stocks ended the first day of trading last week in the red, falling from the record highs of the prior week. As investors await the start of the corporate earnings season, so Q1 2021 corporate earnings season is basically up, and we need to find out what happened, basically, who made some money. Among the indexes, both the Russell 2000 and the NASDAQ, which went down 0.4%, led the decline, followed by the Dow at negative 0.2%, the global Dow at 0.1%, and then ultimately the S&P 500, which broke even on the day. Treasury yields inched higher while the dollar dipped. Crude oil prices rose but remained below $60 per barrel. Yeah, so basically last Monday the stock market wasn't too hot. So isn't the most ideal news we would like to hear, but at the same time, there's always better and brighter days ahead, no matter what. It's not always greener. It's not always a peachy sunny day, but it's always greener on the other side. Let's talk about Tuesday. Tech shares pushed the NASDAQ up 1.1% last Tuesday. For those that may not know, the NASDAQ is mainly composed of technology stocks such as Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Google, Netflix, right? These big tech companies. The S&P 500 gained 0.3% and the global Dow inched up 0.1%. By the way, the S&P 500 is composed of the top 500 companies in the U.S. The Russell 2000 and the Dow dipped lower. Yields on 10-year treasuries dropped more than 3%. And the dollar sank for the second consecutive day, while crude oil prices rose to over $60 per barrel. So that's last Tuesday. Last Tuesday was a pretty good day in the market. Now let's talk about what happened last Wednesday. Last Wednesday saw tech stocks retreat from their surge the prior day. Stocks were otherwise mixed, with the NASDAQ going up 1%. S&P 500 went up 0.4%, and the Russell 2000 0.8%, global Dow 0.7%, the Dow 0.2%. All right. So basically last Wednesday was a bit mixed. It wasn't as good as we expected it to be. But hey, we'll take it. Let's talk about last Thursday. We got about 5 more minutes until we get into the topic of today, how to invest in yourself. So last Thursday, stocks reached record highs while the treasury yields fell. And then ultimately, the treasury yields fell, and ultimately, strong economic reports headlined by record retail sales in March, coupled with a significant drop in weekly unemployment claims. So there was a drop in weekly unemployment claims. That means more people are going back to work. Offered signs that economic recovery from the pandemic is accelerating. All right. So with this vaccine and all this stuff going on, it looks like the economy is actually recovering. People are going back to work. And things are quote unquote normalizing again, whatever that word means, right? The Nasdaq went up 1.3%, S&P 500 went up 1.1%, the Dow went up 0.9%. They each reached all-time highs. Yields on 10-year treasuries plunged 6.6%, and crude oil prices continue to increase. All right, so that was last Thursday. The stock market went up because unemployment claims went down and people were more optimistic. All right, let's talk about Friday. Equities closed last week on an upswing, with each of the benchmark indexes gaining ground. The S&P 500 led the way, climbing 1.1% to reach yet another record high. So the S&P 500 reached a record high last Friday. That's quite impressive, by the way. And sorry for the background noise. Don't know what's happening. But the Dow, right? The Dow gained 0.9%. The global Dow went up 0.6%. The Russell 2000 went up 0.4%. And the NASDAQ went up 0.1%. All right. So last Friday was a pretty good day in the markets. And so let's just recap ultimately what happened last week. It was overall a good week for the stock market. But last week, investors were confronted with a pause in the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. You might have heard about that. J&J had to put a pause on their COVID-19 vaccine because of a quote-unquote defect in the actual stuff, the product, the vaccine. The potential for rising inflation, and the likelihood of higher taxes, right, under the Biden administration, offsetting the burgeoning government budget deficit. This is very important to note, in that when the government is spending all this money, they need somebody to pay for it. And I always tell my clients this, I hope it's not you, right? So all this money, they've released $5 trillion into the economy over the past 12 or so months, give or take, ever since the first stimulus package, right, known as the CARES Act. $5 trillion. The government doesn't have $5 trillion to spend. Of course, they spent it anyway. So guess what? They need to recoup the money somehow, and they do it in the form of taxes. They invest, or they require you as the taxpayer to invest in whatever they're doing. Not to say that it's bad, right? Let's not get political. But at the same time, understand that if you are a W-2 employee, if you're somebody who pays taxes, then ultimately, right, you're going to be the one who suffers the most from this tax reform that's about to come up, because the government needs the money to fund the stimulus. They need the money to fund Social Security. They need the money to fund the transportation. They need the money to do these things. Right? That's how stimulus packages are funded, through taxpayer dollars. You know, it's not like new money. Now, they print a lot of the money. They just print it so they can keep getting in deficits. And then they just replenish the money through taxpayer dollars. So that's how the cycle works, basically. All right. Nevertheless, strong first quarter corporate earnings reports, coupled with positive economic report, provided enough encouragement for investors to continue to trade. And we'll get started in just 1 minute with our topics today. We're talking about how to invest in yourself. The best investment on the planet is in yourself. Yes, you. All right. A strong performance by Chinese stocks helped push the global Dow up 1.5%, followed by the Nasdaq, S&P 500, Dow, and the Russell 2000. So far this year, the Dow Jones is up 11.21%. That's pretty good. The Nasdaq is up 9.03%. The S&P 500, which is composed of the top 500 companies in the U.S., is up 11.03%. Huge. Russell 2000 is up 14.29%. The global Dow is up 13.08%. And interest rates are at a dead 0%. And that's where we're at. All right, so the stock market was up overall last week. And my advice to you is to invest. Right? Invest in yourself first, and then figure out what you want to do as far as investments to help you build some passive income, aka the stock market, or my personal favorite, real estate. What to look for this week? The housing sector is front and center this week with the release of the March figures for sales of both new and existing homes. The housing market took a notable dip in February following several months of burgeoning results. Existing home sales plunged 6.6% in February, and new home sales sank 18.2%. As inventory of available homes for sale increases, the pace of sales is expected to ramp up again. All right. So before we get into the topic, you are listening to my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money, on WJC LP 98.3 FM, Chicago, that is. Just a reminder to visit our website, WGHCradio.org, where you can listen live, so you can listen to us live right now, make a donation, and sign up for our email, and more. All right. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So please invest or please support the station, right? You do get tax deductible donations. And you can listen to us one of four ways, actually. One, you can literally, if you're in Chicago right now, you can tune into your car, 98.3 FM, and you can listen. You can also go to WGHCradio.org, WGHCradio.org. All right. And then, last but not least, Facebook, Instagram. Facebook Live, Instagram, IGTV. This is recorded, so keep that in mind. Barbara asked a question. What do you think about the hype around Dogecoin? Don't even know what that is, really. Is cryptocurrency worth investing in? Great question. That really leads into the topic for today, that the first thing you really have to invest in is yourself and your education, right? Investing in a phone can be a great investment. Investing in a car can be a great investment. Investing in real estate can, right, keyword can, be a great investment. Why do I say the word can? Because you have to know what you're doing, right? So you might have heard Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ether, right? Ripple, all of these coins. The thing is, nothing is a great investment if you don't know what you're investing into. So I can say it's a great investment and you invest into it. However, you yourself have to know about that investment. Do I think cryptocurrency is a great investment? Yes, I do. Because crypto is the future. I'm a big tech guy. I'm all for tech. I mean, in our firm, you should see some of the tech stuff we got going on, cooking up in the R&D department. So I'm big into tech, and I think cryptocurrency will dominate the fiat currency or the currency. The only people that will get in the way is the government, because they always got to get theirs. It always gets political. But, yeah, look at the price of Bitcoin. There's really two reasons why it's up. For one is because everybody's trying to get in. Investments are nothing but supply and demand, by the way. It's simply who has it, who got it, who needs it. Who got it, who needs it. Right? So basically you can invest. As more people invest into something, the price goes up, demand goes up. As there's less of something, the price goes up because the supply is down. It's all supply and demand. Right? So it's very, very important to keep these things in mind because that's investing. Which brings me to the point, investing in yourself. The number one investment on the planet. Forget about stocks for a second. I want you to mentally take your mind off the stock market for a second. Yes, this is Money Talks, but today we're talking about investing in yourself, in your mind, in your education. Because oftentimes I find that people are not investing in themselves. They're not willing to pay the price to increase their knowledge on stuff. They would much rather be cheap, right? Be scarcity minded and not necessarily invest in something that will help them grow. And they know deep inside, always trust your intuition, that it will help you grow, but they decide not to invest in themselves. They would much rather invest in some car insurance before they get some life insurance, right? Does that make any sense whatsoever? It makes absolutely no sense to me that somebody would invest in a car insurance policy, assuming they know about life insurance, but they would invest in a car insurance policy more than they would before they invest in their own life, right? It sickens me. It saddens me every time I think about it. And maybe it's because I have a certain amount of knowledge on this topic, but there's no excuses, right? There's no excuses. So think about it. Like, you got to invest in yourself before you invest in anything, because at the end of the day, who's the one that's going to be making the money? It's you. Who's the one that's going to have their name on that investment? It's you. Who's the one that's going to start that business? It's you. So wouldn't you think it's worth it to invest a little bit into yourself? Just a little bit. And when I say invest, I mean time and money. Yes, time and money. So you have to invest in yourself. One thing that I've learned, one of my greatest lessons that I've learned in life is the importance of investing in yourself. It's extremely important. So how do you invest in yourself? I just explained the why, and I explained the what. How? First of all, you need to set a vision. You got to set goals. You have to really understand what you want. I talked to somebody today, and just 5 minutes on a call, I'm like, man, you want to do like 20 things at the same time. You need to really, really set goals, tangible goals. Be very specific, especially with the timeline. Hey, I want to make $10,000 a month, right, in 6 months. On October, let's just say on October 19th, 2021, I want to bank in $10,000 a month. Okay, that's a great goal. That's a great goal. Then you have to put an action plan in place. How are you going to hit that goal? What are you specifically going to do? What habits do you need in order to change your life? Right? And appreciate Damien. Shout out to my boy Damien. He said, I think those Jeff Badu seminars hit different. Yes, sir. How are you going to hit $10,000 a month? What will you do specifically? Will you start a new business? Is it through a job? Right? And so just keep that in mind, that it's very, very important to have these things in place. Right? It's extremely important to have these things in place. So set goals, tangible goals, ones you can see, ones that are achievable. I do recommend you set stretch goals. So if you want $10,000 a month, set it for $12,000. Right, just set it for $12,000. Your subconscious mind is going to force you to get to $11,000. Right now, you'd have crushed your original goal, and you basically you crushed your original goal and you exceeded. You basically exceeded the goal. So why couldn't you do 15,000? Because your mind only told you could do 12,000. That's why. It's crazy how the mind works, and the thing called positive vibrations. Shout out to Bob Proctor. And he said, basically, you can speak things into existence. Meaning that if you want $10,000 a month, and your mind consistently reminds you, not, I'll basically write down 10,000. I'll look at it a month later. You won't get to 10,000. I guarantee you that. Because you're not focused enough. The only way to stay focused on something is to look at it every single day and make sure you understand what it takes to get to it. right? That's the only way you can get something, is if you focus on it every single day, meaning you read your goals to yourself every single day. So you have to invest in yourself. One of the ways to invest in yourself is to actually spend some time, right? Spend some time, the time that we don't seem to all have, to think, what do you want? Forget about that clock that you're going to punch tonight for a second. Sit down for about 5-10 minutes and possibly longer. Come up with a vision board. By the way, speaking of vision boards, check out the book, Infinite Expansion, How to Infinitely Expand Your Vision of Abundance, available on Amazon right now. It is a very hot commodity these days. But it's a book that teaches you the 12 steps to creating an abundant lifestyle. And one of them is setting a vision board. So set something you can see it. When you see something, you tend to believe it. When you believe something, you tend to achieve it. It makes it that much more realistic when you see it every day. I look at my goals, my vision board every single day, right? Because when I'm falling behind, it reminds me I need to get back up. I need to step it up. I need to keep pushing. I need to grind. I need to hustle, right? I just came back from a trip in Miami. I took my whole team out to Miami, right? At least the tax firm. And I came back. I said, this will be my best week on the planet because I need to grind. I need to hustle. Right? Shout out to the Badu Tax Services team, by the way. We had a great time this past weekend. So set the goals. Very important to set the goals. Make them attainable, and then also set stretch goals. Right? But always remember what your subconscious mind can do for you. It can lead you into places that you don't think you can get to. So always keep that in mind. Next thing, invest in books. Invest in books. You know, I didn't really gain a true business mind until I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was in scarcity mindset in 2016. Scarcity mindset. I was not in abundance mindset at all. I was like, okay, it would just be me starting a business. I only want X amount of clients, making X amount of dollars each year. That's scarcity mindset when you limit yourself. It is setting a goal, but the mind didn't want to expand. I didn't say, okay, next year I'll add some more people. I just wanted to be a one-man shop. When I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it completely changed the trajectory of my entire life. It changed my mind completely. It said, you know what? I need to expand. I need to get on the right side of the cash flow quadrant. You got the left side, which is the employees and the small business owner. And then you got the right side, which is the big business owner and the real estate investor. I said, I want to be on the right side. Forget about the left side. Left side is temporary. That's short term. Let's go on the right side real quick. So read books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read it at least twice. I play Cash Flow Quadrant, the Cash Flow Game faithfully. So read books. Read books that are going to help expand your mind, develop, and ultimately help you get to the next level. You must invest in yourself. You have to. Not saying it is. So this is an opportunity to get selfish a bit, but I'm not saying be greedy, right? Just invest in yourself. Really spend some time. Forget about your boss. Forget about, even a parent. To be quite frank, forget about a spouse for now. Think about what is it you want. What is it that you want in life? Because when you go to the grave, you go alone. You're not remembered for what other people told you to do. You're remembered for what you did. When you go to the grave, it's about what did you do, right? What legacy did you leave behind? So set goals, read books that relate to your profession, read books that can help you perfect your craft. Always perfect your craft, by the way, and become obsessed with what it is you do. Become obsessed with that online retail company you want to start. Become obsessed with that law firm you want to start. Become obsessed with that stock investing. The nice thing about life is we can choose to do whatever it is our mind tells us to do. Literally, God has put us on this planet and allows us to do whatever we want. Like it's not. Yeah, you might have had a preset path, but you can actually be led down a different path if you truly speak it into existence. Like literally, you can speak things into existence. It's crazy. I can say something right now in my mind, and as long as I believe in it, it's going to happen. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So you always have to speak things into existence. By the way, when you think negative things happen to you. You are a reflection of what you think, because there's a thing called positive and negative vibrations. The more positive vibrations you have going in your mind, the more good things happen. Like literally, your mind will drive you to do certain things. It's crazy. God forbid if you want to rob a bank right now, right? You can literally walk into a bank and rob it. Not saying you should, of course. Not promoting any violence or anything like that. But I'm just saying you can do it. Now, whether or not you make it out the bank alive, that's a different story, right? That requires another thought process. Or maybe you want to start a business. Okay, you want to start your own law firm. If your mind is telling you to start the law firm, you will start the law firm. And by the way, if you're required to pay money and your gut, you always should trust your gut, by the way. Invest in your gut, to be honest. Really invest in your gut. Your gut will tell you to do certain things, and you should do it. Follow your gut. Trust your gut. But if your gut is telling you, man, if I just spend this $500 for this seminar, this workshop, $1,000, I've spent, I kid you not, over $100,000 in education in the past 3 years, right? I'm not talking about college education, by the way. I'm talking about stuff that happened after college. I've spent $100,000 plus, with the plus, on training, coaching, self-development, education. Education doesn't stop after college. It only begins. What you learn in college is probably 1% of what you'll actually do in real life. Like, it's 1% of what you'll learn. It's the beginning, it's the foundation, and you build upon it, but it doesn't end with just the college education. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself. Let me repeat it one more time. You have to invest in yourself, because if you don't, then you don't get results, right? Oftentimes we're too focused on the clock we need to punch. We're too focused on pleasing other people. We're too focused on just doing things that we don't even really want to do. If you're doing something right now, let me ask you a real question. If you're doing something right now and you don't like doing it, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Now, you do have to do certain things to get to certain places. I'm talking about, deep inside what you're doing is not really for you. Why are you doing it? Are you scared? Scarcity mindset a bit? Right? Are you scared that you're going to not put food on your table tomorrow? Well, first of all, you need to plan certain things ahead. Not everything can be planned. Like, for example, I plan to stay at PwC for 6 years initially, but I only stayed there for 1 year full time. Right? So that was something that I had planned to stay. But guess what? Although I only stayed there for 1 year, I had a business plan that I just accelerated or executed 5 years earlier. That's it. It was a plan within a plan, and the second plan happened. So with that being said, you always have to invest in yourself, invest in your education, and ask yourself the real question. If you're doing something right now that you don't like doing, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Especially if you're somebody who's young. I'm 28 years old, by the way. Turning 29 this year, turning 30 next year. And I don't want to live a life of where I'm doing things that I don't want to do. Why? Life is too short to be doing things that you don't want to do. Now, for me, I don't know what your religion is, or I don't know what you believe in. I can only speak for myself, and I'm glad you tuned in to my show tonight, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. But essentially, the good book that I've read, called the Bible, told me that I'm supposed to be living in abundance. Right? Doesn't matter where you're from. I'm from Ghana originally. I was born and raised in Ghana. I was born in a small village called Asem and moved to the city eventually in Ghana. Came to the U.S. when I was 8 years old. Right? I wasn't born in America. I mean, it's not something that I can say, oh yeah, I just all of a sudden acquired a business that was worth 7, 8 figures, whatever it is. Right? I had to grind. I had to work hard. CPA exam, taking the CPA exam, the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. I studied 10 hours a day minimum. First one to get to the library, last one to leave. I studied 10 hours. The only reason why I didn't do 12 hours was because I had to eat lunch within those 2 hours. Grind, right? I invested in myself in that I knew I needed this license to help me get to the next level. So overall, the book that I read, the good book called the Bible, I don't know what you call it, it told me that I am supposed to be living in abundance. It told me that I am a king, right? It told me that I wasn't meant to struggle. And I think oftentimes people think that in life you're supposed to struggle. Like life was just this bad thing that was created for you to work all day, every day, struggle, punch the clock, and just suffer, right? I think in most people's minds, unfortunately, I think that's what's going on in their minds. I read a study that I believe over 80% of people working a job right now don't like what they're doing. And I'm like, if you don't like what you're doing, why in the world are you doing it? I didn't like what I was doing in 2016 when I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, with all due respect to the company called PwC. I didn't like what I was doing. So what did I do? I decided to do something I actually wanted to do. I didn't want to go and work on Sundays, my holy day, to worship my only father. I'm sorry, Christ, my father. I do have, of course, a biological father. But I'm talking about the spiritual father. Right? I was literally traveling back and forth from Indiana during church time when I was at PwC. And I was like, well, that's not for me. Just wasn't for me. And just didn't like some of the things that I was doing. So for me, I'm about instant action, instant change. If something needs to be changed, I'm changing it right away. If something will better my life and hopefully the people around me, I'm going to change it right away, because my legacy depends on me. It doesn't depend on anybody else. When I go to the grave, I go alone. So I have to build my own legacy, of course, with the support of my team, my family, all that good stuff. But the book that I read, it said to live in abundance. It said that it's okay to make some money, right? It's okay to make millions of dollars every year. It's okay to have a business. It's okay to buy real estate. It's perfectly okay. As a matter of fact, we were meant to buy real estate, you know? So it's okay to be wealthy. It's okay to travel, go on vacation with your team. It's okay, right? And it's okay to do this while you're young. It's okay to do this while you're old. It's okay. So for me, when I was at the age of 16, I read half of the Bible, and it transformed my mind into more positive thinking. It allowed things to make more sense in life for me personally. So always think about it. When you invest in yourself, think abundantly. What do you need to do? What do you need to do in order to get to the next level, right? And you have to make changes in order to get to the next level. You can't be who you are today trying to get to the next level tomorrow. You can't be the person you are right now. You have to evolve. You have to change things. Sometimes it's changing the people around you. Sometimes it's getting rid of certain people in your life or around you. It's okay, right? Do it in a nice way, not in a rude and mean way. But let them know that, hey, this is me, this is my life, and this is how I think things should go. You know, so always keep that in mind, that you control your own destiny and you own your own legacy. Your first name, last name is upon you. It's not upon anybody else, not a boss, not a parent, not even a spouse. Yeah, you should marry the right spouse, trust me. But at the end of the day, it's all about building a legacy. Last thing I would say is perfect your craft. Be the master of your craft. Perfect it. Practice, practice, practice. Learn, right? Learn something and practice it. Become so obsessed with it through repetition that you're the best at whatever it is that you do, and then master it by teaching it to somebody else. The only way you can master something truly is to teach it to somebody else. And the only way to master something is through consistent learning and repetition. All day, every day. Consistent learning and repetition. All day, every day. Right? So if you bake cookies every single day until your cookies, and not just until, but even beyond the point where your cookies taste better than anybody cookies on the planet. Taste better than Insomnia cookies. Right? Perfect your craft. Determine what team members, what key players do you need to be on your team to help you bake that cookie. And don't be afraid to fail, by the way, because failure is needed for success. Now, it doesn't have to be your failure. It could be somebody else's failure. Right? For me, I don't just learn from my mistakes and my failures. I learn more from other people's mistakes and failures. Oh, yeah, they got divorced. What did they do that led them down the path of divorce? Right? That way I don't repeat that mistake. You don't have to make a mistake yourself to learn from it. You just simply ask questions. What did you do? And people are usually willing to share because it's a lesson learned for them. What did you do that led you down the path of divorce? What were some things that you said? What were some things you didn't do? Right? Tell me so I can learn from it. I'm going to compare that to the notes that I learned in my counseling with my pastor, and the good book that I read, and all the counseling that I've learned from my greatest teachers. I'm going to use that, compare and contrast. Oh, okay, he said this. You know what? He said this too. It might be right? It might be true. Some things you have to take with a grain of salt, and I mean that with all due respect. But always understand that it's really about building your legacy. You know, it's about building your legacy. How do you build a great legacy? You have to be obsessed with what it is you're doing. And remember, if you're doing something right now that you don't like doing, why in the world are you doing it? Ask yourself the question. Do you deserve to suffer? Do you deserve to be in pain all day? Why? Life is to be abundant. Life is to be lived fruitfully. Oftentimes people think you need to struggle. You don't need to struggle. Yes, you may struggle certain times, and you have to be resilient, by the way. Invest in mental exercises. But you don't have to struggle. Like, this world was not created for you to struggle. It was created for you to thrive, for you to do good stuff. It's just that society has painted a picture a certain way that we're meant to struggle. We're meant to punch clocks. And this whole pandemic thing was just something that we learned from it, but we're going to go back to our old ways after the pandemic. I'm like, man, when do people learn? When do people learn? By the way, the more you learn, the more you earn. Right? The more you know, the more you can grow. So invest in yourself all day, every single day. Don't skip a day. Invest every day. Become obsessed with what you're doing. If you're doing something right now that you don't like doing, why are you doing it? Not saying you have to stop doing it, but just ask yourself the question, why are you doing it? And is there something better that you can do right now in life? I do want to thank you all for tuning in to WGHC LP 98.3 FM. Well, you've been listening to my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. We are a low-power station empowering small voices to make great change. Please listen to our website, or please check out our website at wjcradio.org. Make a donation. And you can also listen to us live by clicking on the Listen Live tab. If you would like to sponsor the show or the station in any way, please leave a message for our program director using the Contact Us form on the website. Finally, if you would like to keep up to date with new programming and news, please sign up for our email list. All this can be done by visiting our website, wjcradio.org. Reminder, tomorrow night we'll be on Clubhouse, where we'll have a real conversation about wealth, about abundance. We're talking about ownership, business ownership, and entitlement. People are so caught up with CEOs and CFOs and this and that. It really means nothing in the real world, to be honest. So we'll just talk about that, just have a real conversation about that. And yeah, with that, I'll be back, same place, same time next week. Thank you all for tuning in to WJTLP 98.3 FM, Chicago. My name is Jeff Badu, and I look forward to continuously delivering you all some content. Thank you. One day.